More areas of heavy rain, more Saharan dust, and more tropical waves to track for the week ahead. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. Great to see you. Hope things are well. Coming up in this video, we'll talk about the areas that are getting hammered with some heavy rain and some gusty winds on this late part of the weekend. The Saharan dust that'll be playing a factor in some areas early in the week, and then more tropical waves to be monitoring as we get into the week ahead. What do you say we get started? I always love to hear from you guys. Drop into the comments section below where you're viewing from, what the weather's been like, what you guys have been up to. Always love to hear from our weather community. We'll start off with our broad infrared satellite imagery, all the lightning data here live at Meteo Mundo. Let's get into some areas that have gotten hammered this afternoon. We'll start with our friends in the Bahamas. We've had numerous showers and storms, some of those strong enough to actually prompt some severe thunderstorm warnings. They've been very persistent in the central Bahamas, now lifting up to the north and west. Exuma and Cat Island and Eleuthera and New Providence and Andros, now getting into Abaco and Bimini and Grand Bahama and Walker's Key. That's the enhanced satellite imagery. I'm going to throw on the old radar data for us here as well, take off the sat, and then we'll put this into motion. And you can see those storms coming up. First of all, down towards Andros. And again, as I've mentioned, we've had some severe thunderstorm warnings today. Very heavy rain over Andros a little bit earlier. Look at all of that lightning. Some of that clipped portions of New Providence and the Nassau area there. Those have then spun up towards Abaco and portions of Grand Bahama. It's been a wet, it's been a stormy day for boaters, obviously. Probably shut things down a little bit early for us here. In general, all of this is kind of drifting west, and then the whole kind of slog of rain is lifting up to the north, and this has been able to overcome some Saharan dust that's been into play as well. When I go back over to the satellite imagery, you can see how intense the storms were, even down towards Great Exuma and Walker's Key and San Salvador, even towards the Acklands right now. So again, just a really wet, stormy day there. Let's take a look if we've had any wind gusts. I've seen from time to time we've actually had some decent wind gusts in this area. So let me just throw on, first of all, the temperatures will pop on, and then we'll bring on the winds. Let's see here. Looks like right now we're not getting any gusty winds, but from time to time we've had some of that. And it's a little bit drier down towards the Turks and the Caicos at the hour. Now back over to, let's start with Jamaica. What do you say? It's been a relatively quieter day here. We haven't had a lot of rain and storms. It's been very hot. Feels like temperatures continue to be pretty outrageously hot right now. There's your feels like temperature in Kingston. It hit 116, 117 Fahrenheit. That is mid 40s Celsius. That's rough, guys. So I hope you guys have found some ways to beat the heat for my friends in Jamaica. Not a lot of storms here. You slide over to the Cayman Islands and it's a different story. We've had some very healthy thunderstorms, especially Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, Grand Cayman, not as much for today, but look at the storms roll over the two eastern islands here. Very heavy rainfall from a time there and some good gusty downpours as well. Thunderstorms are flaring up over the central and the western sides of Cuba, just like they have almost each and every day. This is just one area that has had the localized storms, just developing numerous heavy storms again for the central and the western sides of the island. It's been drier towards Hispaniola. It's been drier for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and basically this entire area here, okay? And here's the reason why. When I put on the water vapor imagery, you can see all of the red. We are being inundated with some Saharan dust. Take a look at it. This is the current late Sunday Saharan dust plot, and you can see it's working its way through the central Caribbean right now. It's already passed through portions of the Leeward Islands and Puerto Rico, but drier air has been left behind, and now that main axis is over Hispaniola and Cuba and Jamaica and the Turks of the Caicos, and some of that is even streamed into the Bahamas and portions of southern Florida as well. Look, July, typically speaking, is some of the highest concentration of Saharan dust. This is not out of the ordinary, if you will, okay? But it is still suppressing some of the tropical potential in the Atlantic and looks to do so at least over the next 3 to 5 days as well. So another big plume working its way off from east to west. Now we go back over here. One of the things, although we're not seeing a lot of rain in this area, we are getting some pretty good winds. So I'm going to throw on the wind gusts here, and you can see that up towards, I was looking at a little bit earlier today, the St. Martin, St. Bartholomew areas. They had a good 35 mile an hour wind there, and St. Bartholomew up to 36. St. Martin got about mid 20s. About the same kind of winds for St. Croix and St. Thomas and St. John. 25, even close to 30-mile-an-hour winds out of the east. The trade winds have kicked up. It's kicked up the surf and sea conditions. Then you get to the ABC Islands, which again, unfortunately, has been very dry. And Aruba had a 35-mile-an-hour wind. One factor that's going to be consistent in these areas over the next several days will be some extremely strong easterly trade winds. These are the feels-like temperatures at the hour. It's not outrageous in most spots, but we do have a couple of areas to point out. Nueva Esparta there off the coastline of Venezuela for a time had a feels-like temperature of about 112, but you notice theirs has dropped down significantly. It's because when I put this into motion, we've actually had a few showers try and lift up towards this area. If I show you this on the visible satellite imagery, we're losing some of the daylight here, but there's just a little bit of rain that has slipped over that area. Not much, but enough to cool things down just a little bit. And you can see in the visible satellite imagery here how strong the easterlies are. Now, we swing over to Central America, and this is where we've had some very heavy rain for today. It's been widespread up towards the Yucatan as well. So take a look. Cancun, Cozumel, a few storms there, some on the far western sides of the Yucatan, but this has mainly been from very far south Quintana Roo, Chechemal area, San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga, San Ignacio, Belmopan there has had some rain try and move in. Is everyone getting the showers? No, but it's been a relatively wet day. It's been a relatively wet day for coastal Guatemala, northern sides of Honduras. We've had some storms near La Chiva, San Pedro Sula, Roatan. If I zoom this out again, this is just our wettest part of the area here, especially the Caribbean side of Honduras and Nicaragua, back down through portions of Costa Rica and Panama. It's been slightly drier here, at least for a time, but then over just the last couple of hours, Panama has really ramped back up into the storms. It's been relatively quiet for our friends in Bermuda as well. So obviously in our western zones, we're still getting enough moisture to fire off the storms with our last tropical wave. We're drier here in the central and the southeast sides. We'll get into the tropical waves in the Atlantic coming up. As we get into the forecast part of the video, thank you so much for liking this video. If you haven't become a member yet to Meteo Mundo, or a subscriber, I should say, thank you for subscribing by clicking that subscribe button right now. Thank you for sharing this with your friends and your family. Memberships, super thanks, all those are open if you want to find a way to support us here at the channel. We appreciate it. So let us roll into the models. I think the first one we're going to start off with here is going to be the GFS. We'll look at this. Give me just 1 second here to loop this up to the time frame that I want. Sure, why not? We'll throw this into motion, and then we'll take a look at the broad perspective and get into the NAM. Now, first of all, we are going to see a little bit drier air over the next couple of days for the Lesser Antilles in general, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Hispaniola. By the way, your island-by-island rain chance is coming up here, so stick around for that. But we're still going to have a progressive pattern, and what I mean by that is we're still going to have these tropical waves moving in relatively quickly. So we're not going to be stuck with one kind of weather pattern over an area for very long. We're going to see a lot of movement here because those easterly trades are going to be extremely fresh. So that's just kind of the broad perspective of the GFS. Once again, I just feel like the NAM has a better handle on what's going to be happening overall. So let me set that one up and we'll get into it here. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that the NAM is just a little bit better with these waves coming in. We can see those moving through. After, like I said, slightly drier weather tomorrow, maybe early on Tuesday for the Lesser Antilles, we will start to see some more rain coming back in. And this could be actually some pretty good showers. Again, progressive pattern, meaning it's not going to stick around very long, but another 25 to 50 millimeters is not out of the question for Trinidad and Tobago, Nueva Esparta, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, up towards St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica. Again, notice how fast these showers are racing through. They're going to have some kick. They're going to be moving east to west really fast, again, easily 15 to 20 knots. It's going to kick up the surf and sea conditions from time to time, but it will bring shots of rain to this area as we roll over the mid part of the week. Again, slightly dry, potentially earlier. Then we'll kind of see how the timing plays out for the rest of the week. I do expect this rain to get into Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands by late Monday, early Tuesday, and then just spread its way off onto the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Again, a little bit better opportunity Tuesday into early on Wednesday. This will try and hold together and make places like Jamaica by midweek. I would expect, my friends, in Jamaica to start off dry and hot, just like you were on this Sunday. Cayman Islands, again, will be drying out behind some of the heavier rain they saw in portions of that area for today. Even the Central America gets a little bit drier. The rain is just a touch spottier overall for us here. And if you look up towards the Bahamas, again, the Saharan dust still plays a factor here, so we're not going to have as much shower and thunderstorm activity there. I'm going to show you another little product coming up in just a second, but I do want to get to the wind gusts first, because if you notice that just off of the South American coastline and towards the ABC Islands, again, we're talking about some winds that could be 30, 35, even 40 knots in gusts. Sustained, no. But extremely strong, absolutely. So the other big factor, as I've mentioned, are going to be the winds here. They're just going to be howling across the area. They're just going to be very strong. Again, kicking up the surf and sea conditions. They're going to be breezy behind the waves, okay, and just ahead of them as well. Obviously, the Saharan dust will play a factor in what the winds are going to be as well. Just generally speaking, we get a little bit drier, a little bit breezier conditions, obviously, with the haze and the Saharan dust in play, and the rainfall becomes a little bit more spotty. That's one of the big factors, and it does suppress the opportunity for some tropical development. So not expecting anything very close to home, at least in the short term. But I do want to show you here real quickly the GFS model, and I want to get back to that spin product that I show you guys fairly often here as well. Here it is. I just wanted to point out that one of the reasons why the Bahamas is getting a little bit more enhanced rain right now, and it's going to take just 1 second to loop this up for a little bit here, is the fact that there is a very broad spin in the mid levels to lower levels, but not at the surface. But this is what's been coming through the Bahamas to kind of enhance the showers and storms for today. It's not going to develop into anything tropical, but I just wanted to note that there is a little bit more enhanced spin in the atmosphere riding up the east side of the Bahamas to produce that. Otherwise, again here, and we'll just go ahead and take this product out, and then we'll look at the rest of the tropical forecast coming up in just a little bit. So if I spin this out for the week ahead, since we're already here, once again, we'll talk more about the waves and what they're going to be doing here, but the Saharan dust pretty far to the north is going to be a factor. You don't see a ton of spin right now, although we'll have to watch out for the second wave coming offshore from the African coastline later this week. That one might have a little bit more of a thump to it here as we get into the very last couple of days of July and into early August. We'll talk much more about that one as we roll through the week. So let's break down that rain chance. What do you say, island by island? Again, for the Northwest Bahamas, decent showers for tomorrow, then slightly drier Tuesday and Wednesday. It's more localized than anything else, just heat of the day storms. Same thing for the Central and the Southeast Bahamas. Not expecting the next tropical wave to have a direct impact there. We could catch a few additional showers toward the Turks and the Caicos with that wave on Tuesday. Otherwise, again, localized storms. Cuba, again, I feel like these numbers probably aren't as high as they should be. It's just been very wet and stormy across the island. Our friends in the Cayman Islands won't have as much rain over the next few days. Belize City, after some more wet weather for tomorrow, goes drier Tuesday, Wednesday. Even Cancun and Cozumel will dry out a bit early to midweek. Jamaica's chances start low. They'll gradually get higher up towards Wednesday. The Dominican Republic, 50% chance tomorrow, 60% chance on Tuesday, slightly drier on Wednesday. Puerto Rico and the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands start to see the rain chances improve late tomorrow through portions of Tuesday, then slightly drier behind that. Bermuda, again, not a lot of opportunity for rain. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Bartholomew, places like that. Leeward Islands, 50% chance tomorrow, 40 Tuesday, and then relatively dry on Wednesday. Same thing for Antigua and Barbuda, 40% chance the next couple of days. Not a lot of rain midweek, and then we'll watch for the next wave late in the week for additional rain. Again, these things are moving fast, so expect variable weather throughout the week. Same thing for Montserrat and Guadeloupe. Dominica and Martinique, about a 40% chance for showers the next few days, 30% chance on Wednesday. St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a little bit better moisture quality farther south, so slightly better rain chances early. St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Barbados is close, same thing for Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, so slightly higher chances there towards the Windward Islands than that 30 to 40% chance Tuesday, Wednesday. Suriname, Guyana, healthy rain chances through the period. Nueva Esparta, just like today, good rain chances for tomorrow, a few showers Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we cross our fingers for the isolated rain for our friends in the ABC Islands. This is the wave heights and direction. Again, you get a good idea of what's going to be happening here. And once again, you're just going to see that this is going to be a pretty quick progression of some of those waves. Everything will just continue to be out of the east. I don't expect that changing anytime soon for us here, guys, as I do expect the easterly trades to just be the big factor overall. Okay, back out to the big picture here. And again, I'm back out on the GFS model. I'm going to bring it back over to that vorticity product just one more time so we can kind of catch things here. So if you notice that there's not a lot here, it's because things are relatively dry in the atmosphere, okay? The Sahara dust is playing a factor in that. So let's look at the real time, right? What's happening right now. Again, in this area, in the main development region of the Atlantic, we're very devoid of a lot of moisture, all right? And the dust is playing a factor in that. So these waves for late July are still relatively robust. They just haven't been able to find their own environment to develop. I'm a little bit more interested, if you will, in the storm coming, and the tropical wave coming out of the West African coast as we speak. It's emerging right now. That would be something to watch out for late week next weekend as it goes. But there's a lot of dry air here. When I show you the European model of the Atlantic basin over the next week, you're going to see that all of the browns are drier air. That's the relative humidity percentage from the 300 to 700 millipascal area there with the winds and the knots. The bottom line is what we would want to see for any true tropical development is really darker greens kind of spinning around an area of low pressure. We don't really get that. As we head towards the end of next week, we see a little bit better here and then into the Windward Islands. It's not crazy strong. Still not expecting this to become a tropical disturbance, but if there is a more richer, if you will, held together tropical wave over the last 2 weeks, I think it's going to be this one. So we'll be monitoring that. But it still is going to be encountering drier air. But remember, Beryl did as well. Very little wind shear and extremely warm temperatures down here. So that's just a wave to be monitoring for us here late next week and into the weekend. Friends, you can find us across all social media. You know, I appreciate it. Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video, it's myMediaMundo@gmail.com. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you have a great start to the week. I'll be back tomorrow with the latest forecast. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And until then, friends, I'll see you soon right here at Media Mundo.